week on Instant Experts, it's the trial of the century as one man fights for freedom.
/ a little extra pickle.
Democrats sweep this week's US elections.
And New York City is throwing a socialist party.
And Oasis sweeps into Sydney.
Liam and Noel only have to pretend to like each other for one more day.
Welcome back to Instant Experts. It's the Stupidity Sandwich edition. All the latest news explained by idiots. Here to keep you sane in a crazy world. I'm Henry Lee, and as always, I'm here with my dear friend, the Honk. Honky, welcome.
Henry, my dear fellow, great to be here. What a week yet again. So much to talk about. And official episode 40.
It's a miracle. What caught your eye this week?
Well, as we always say, this is a show about crooks, fuckwits and morons. We do give a lot of attention to the crooks and the fuckwits, but perhaps not enough to the morons. Now, this week has presented a golden opportunity to fix that problem. Honourable mention to Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary. We mentioned last week an ad from Canada using footage of Ronald Reagan talking about why he thought tariffs are bad for the economy.
Which Trump called fake AI and said that Reagan actually loved tariffs.
Yeah, and this week Scott Bessent went one better and accused Reagan of, quote, foreign election interference.
This is President Ronald Reagan of the United States from California, who's been dead for decades.
The very one. That's not the worst. The true moronification this week is from France. We mentioned the last couple of episodes the recent theft at the Louvre in Paris of about 150 million Australian dollars worth of priceless royal jewels, pulled off during opening hours, remember, via a window, accessed from a ladder, attached to a truck, parked in a public street.
That's right.
That obviously sparked a huge security review, which has revealed the password that the Louvre was using for its video surveillance system. Can you guess?
Password? 1, 2, 3, 4. The Mona Lisa's birthday, which I reckon is maybe 1506-ish.
It was Louvre. But it's okay. They have changed it now.
Right, what? Louvre 1.
No, smartass.
Louvre, huh?
Fuck. There goes my security consulting career in France. Thanks for nothing.
Apart from morons, Honko, what else caught your attention this week?
As we know, Henry, we are in a world full of craziness and carnage. The US government shutdown, civil war in the Sudan, an Australian housing market so insane you have to sell your children to be able to afford a house for them. You know, real issues. But there was no issue in the world this week bigger than this one. I'm speaking, of course, about Sandwich Gate.
Is it really a gate yet, Honks? Just a bloke throwing a sandwich.
Take a good hard look at yourself, Ronald Reagan, okay, or one of your other cool hipster mates. This is a fight between light and dark, good and evil, foot long and 6 inch.
No one really wants a foot long, do they, Honko?
Speak for yourself, Henry.
Well, I was thinking of the ladies, but whatever.
Oh, yeah, me. I was too. Anyway,
why don't you give us some background?
Well, for those who haven't been following the story and how I do not know, there has been a huge trial in the US. The trial of a man called Sean Dunn. He's a former employee of the United States Department of Justice. And on August 10th this year, he threw a wrapped sub-style sandwich, like the type you might buy at Subway, at a federal agent from the US Customs and Border Protection, CBP, who was on patrol in a Washington, D.C. neighborhood.
And that was part of Trump sending troops into D.C., wasn't it? D.C. is a long way from the actual border.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're arriving by sea like the British in the War of 1812 we talked about last week.
The one where they burnt down the White House.
Yeah, and thank God they were stopped, by the way, so that 213 years later, Trump could tear down the White House. Anyway, the incident with the sandwich was captured on video and it went viral, and it became, and it remains, a symbol in D.C. of resistance against a federal law enforcement push that's sort of out of control.
And the Trump administration took the sandwich throw with its usual grace and good humour, didn't it?
Of course. They immediately attempted to charge the guy with felony assault.
Assault with a deadly bread roll.
The only problem is to charge someone with a felony, a serious crime in the US, you have to take it to a grand jury. They decide whether there's enough evidence to formally charge someone before the case goes to trial.
That's in the Fifth Amendment to protect citizens from government overreach, so they can't bring serious charges, at least federally, without citizen oversight.
Yeah, they can't run around prosecuting their enemies on trumped-up charges.
No pun intended, I hope. And what did the grand jury say to this incident?
They said it was bologna, wrapped in a crusty loaf with butter for taste and moisture and a little lettuce for crunch.
Perhaps a little tomato as well, Honk.
Tomato, I think.
Let's cool the whole thing off.
Well, quite. Anyway, the grand jury said this is a crock. There's no way this is a felony. Get the hell out of here.
Right, so did Trump and co get the message?
Yes. They doubled down and charged Sean Dunn with a misdemeanor. A lesser offence, it does not require a grand jury. Misdemeanor assault and obstruction of a federal officer.
And who is the prosecutor in this huge trial?
I don't know who the day-to-day prosecutor is, but the person making them make the case is the DA for Washington, D.C., who is the former Fox News host Jeanine Pirro.
Right, she got the job in the usual way from memory by hosting Fox News and sucking up to Trump.
To be fair, she was both a judge and a DA at county level in Westchester County in the state of New York before that.
And the shit is real in Westchester County, honk. Sometimes they even scratch the BMW in the car wash.
It's one of the wealthiest counties in the US. But she actually did some good stuff there, prosecuting domestic violence offenders. But she was on Fox for years, and she also wrote a book called Liars, Leakers and Liberals, The Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy.
What? Who came up with that title? It's got a double negative in it, honk. What does it even mean? The Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy. She was sued for her conspiracy theories.
She was, yes.
She was a named defendant when Dominion Voting Systems, who made some of the voting machines used in the 2020 election, sued Fox for defamation. Fox and its various hosts, including Pirro, falsely alleged that the voting machines were faulty or rigged and that the election was stolen.
And Fox ended up having to pay Dominion US $787 million to settle the case. And also Pirro, of course, famously did her Fox show from home during lockdown, and on at least one occasion, show started 15 minutes late, and she came on and she was obviously falling down blind drunk.
I remember that. Anyway, back to the sandwich.
So they went with a misdemeanor assault against this guy, and the case was this week, and it is comedy gold. First, the defendant, Sean Dunn, has admitted to throwing the sandwich.
Well, he had to, didn't he? Because it was on video.
Well, sure, except if Trump was on video throwing a sandwich, he'd say it was fake news, AI, a conspiracy by the leftist globalist media.
Well, it probably would be, honk, because Trump would always eat the sandwich. He would never throw it.
Yeah, if it was only if it was Macca's. Anyway, Dunn's defence is that the act was meant as a protest gesture, not a harmful assault.
Maybe even exercising his First Amendment right to free speech.
But the prosecution argues that regardless of motive, Dunn threw an object at a federal officer which crosses a line into assault, obstruction of law enforcement. You can't just throw things when you get mad.
Trump throws his toys out of the cot all the time.
That is completely different. The defence team has claimed the prosecution is selective, vindictive, and this is all tied to Dunn's political views on the federal troops in DC.
Plainly is a vindictive prosecution. That's why he lost his job at the Justice Department. He got fired. Even if you support the so-called broken windows theory of policing, which is being tough on minor things in the hope it'll stop major things, throwing a sandwich is so low level, it's ridiculous. A Subway sandwich literally would not break a window.
Well, that's where the case gets really fun. They took this evidence from the federal officer who was hit by the sandwich. The prosecutor led him through it, trying to get everything on record and make it sound as bad and as serious as it can.
Which, again, it plainly isn't.
Do not trivialise the harm, Henry. The officer is a guy called Greg Laymore. He testified that Dunn, quote, became really irritated and started yelling obscenities at him and other officers before throwing, quote, a Subway-style sandwich that struck me in the chest. He also said while he wasn't injured, he felt the impact of the sandwich through his ballistic vest.
Surely his ballistic vest, which I presume means a bulletproof vest, was also sandwich-proof.
But Laymore went on to say the sandwich came apart and, quote, kind of exploded all over my chest. And here's the kicker. He said it, quote, smelled of onions and mustard.
You sure it wasn't mayo, honk? A lot of people like that sort of thing.
So we've got a grown man in full body armour complaining or being forced by his boss to complain about an exploding sandwich.
All over his chest. You'd think it was a bomb.
The beauty is, the video suggests the sandwich was still wrapped when it hit the ground, so the defence is disputing if it even exploded at all.
Right. This is like the Zapruder film, honk. Was there a second sandwich? Was it thrown from the other direction? Was there a sandwich shop on a grassy knoll? Were there chips and fries involved?
It just goes so deep, this story. The defence can't believe their luck. Their opening line was, quote, he did it, he threw the sandwich.
I threw the sandwich, but I did not throw, no deputy too.
And to the jury, quote, they will not come close to convincing you beyond a reasonable doubt this conduct was forcible.
Surely this case gets thrown out, honk, or at the worst, perhaps literally they sentence the guy to being flogged with a wet lettuce.
Well, Henry, in news just in, as we record this, the verdict has come in, and the verdict was not guilty.
Hey, beat the rap.
He threw the rap, but it didn't do any harm.
It's probably a good litmus test, honk, of the public's view of the Trump crackdown on US cities, especially democratic cities.
Might be a good lettuce test.
But do you really think it's a gate since he beat the rap?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll need you to rank it among sandwich gates over time.
I'm sorry, what?
I actually looked up sandwich
Oh my
gate,
God.
and there are quite a few.
Fuck me dead.
These are the great sandwich gates of our time. Number one, there was a UK parliamentary sandwich gate in 2014 with a Labor MP Ed Miliband. I think he was one of twins, wasn't he? He was photographed awkwardly eating a bacon sandwich, and the tabloids mocked it, using it to question his relatability.
Well, Miliband's Jewish, as am I. So let's be honest, making him eat the bacon sandwich was blatant anti-Semitism. That's clear. By the way, have you tried the BLT down the street here? I had it on Shabbos. It was just delicious.
There was an Irish sandwich gate in 2023. It involved RTE, Ireland's national broadcaster, like our ABC, where journalists expensed sandwiches symbolising wider misuse of taxpayer funds.
Look, I worked myself for many years, as you know, at the actual ABC here in Australia, and I can tell you some of our shows were made for the price of a sandwich, so that is a real issue. In fact, if you expense the sandwiches some of the staff at the ABC would have ordered if they'd been able to, you would bankrupt the whole country.
Right.
Fucking gluten-free, dairy-free, cruelty-free zucchini, line-caught kale on a bed of eat my ass.
There's an Australian sandwich gate in 2013 when our then Prime Minister Julia Gillard had a sandwich thrown at her by a student during a school visit, and it sparked debate over respect towards women in politics.
Quick sidebar. Did you see this week the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, was kissed and groped, like on the breast, by a drunk guy in Mexico City while walking on official business on camera?
Was his name Donald? No, it would have been Hego because Donald doesn't drink.
Don Higo. But that Gillard sandwich was positively respectful by our standards, right?
Yes, because I think Tony Abbott was headbutted in the street.
I think he was no longer Prime Minister, but yes, in Hobart, wasn't it? In 2017?
Well, the shit is real in Hobart. Forget Westchester.
This was during the same-sex marriage campaign. Although it may not have been related to that. It might be what they do in Hobart.
There's also that Senator Fraser Anning.
Oh, yes.
He was hit by an egg, I think, thrown by a kid like a 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And then he hit the kid in the face a couple of times?
Twice, yeah. That was the kid they called him Egg Boy,
Egg
remember?
Boy, that's right. Yeah.
Now, he threw the egg because Anning had blamed that appalling Christchurch mosque massacre just the day before that killed 51 Muslim Kiwis. Anning had blamed it on Muslims.
Right. And the granddaddy of all sandwich gates, the recurring worldwide phenomenon of the office fridge, featuring an anonymous food thief and an office-wide email entitled, "Who Ate My Sandwich?"
Remember that Friends did a whole episode on it? Someone eats Ross's special leftover turkey sandwich from Thanksgiving and he has a meltdown.
Right.
But you said it to me once. His secret was an extra slice of bread in the middle, which he called the moisture maker.
Mind boggles. There is a meme about the sandwich gate that happens in every office in the world. Something like, strange new trend at the office, people putting names on food. Today I ate a tuna sandwich called Kevin.
But back to Julia Gillard.
She actually got a sandwich thrown at her not once but twice.
Fuck.
In the same month. Both school visits. Once in Queensland and once in Canberra. The media reported at the time that one sandwich was Vegemite and one was salami. She laughed it off both times. She said, they must have thought I was hungry.
Julia Gillard, Australia's first female Prime Minister, somehow tougher than your average DC Customs and Border Patrol agent. Okay, we're about, 187 through the show. Must be time for shout-outs to listeners, surely.
It is, and we like to say thank you to our loyal listeners all over Australia, of course, and all over the world, honk. We have beautiful regulars tuning in this week from San Francisco, California, Morbihan in France, and Washington, D.C.
That could be the sandwich guy.
Yes, celebrating his sandwich freedom.
Yeah.
And we've got some new and exotic locations this week, honk, like Augsburg in Bavaria, about an hour west of Munich, and the other side of town, an hour and a half east of Munich, the home of Mozart, Salzburg.
The second most famous musician out of Salzburg after the Von Trapp family singers, famous for their Austrian classic Epstein Files, which we featured a few weeks ago.
Indeed. And honk, a correction you need to make.
Yes, this is a correction from and an apology to a regular London listener of ours. Last week, we had a listener in Limassol in Cyprus, which I said was where the airport is. It's not. The airport is actually in Larnaca.
Limassol sounds like something you take, just like rub a little Limassol on the affected area. And
if the Anusol doesn't work, have you tried Limassol? The London listener also re-listened to our show a week or so back from the Greek island of Santorini to give us another exotic location.
Couldn't she have gone to Darwin, honk?
Yeah, she was really going to skip Santorini in favour of Darwin.
But honk, the location of the week is Motomachi in Hiroshima. I'm not sure Hiroshima as a location needs any introduction, honky.
Why? What happened in Okay, sorry. It's true. It's hard to think of too many Hiroshima jokes that are publishable. So just sincere thanks for listening.
Okay, honky, on to listener feedback.
Yes. Now, new listener Dave from Sydney has a beef with you, Henry, when last week you called Joy Division New Wave. He said, quote, I firmly believe they were punk, very least post-punk.
Well, Dave, I firmly believe they were shithouse. But thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. And Honky, from my end, the big story this week is that the flirtation between regular listeners Lady Rebecca of Centennial Park and the acting Chief Justice has continued. You'll recall that the acting Chief Justice was pressing for so-called elocution lessons from the good Lady Rebecca, but she was quick to stress that an, quote, international dressage champion and war correspondent like her could not be reduced to a mere sex object and that he should focus on his career, not his pants. And you have an update for us.
We received an email from the acting Chief Justice, quote, "My dear lady, my mens rea is focused only on diction, not in flagrante delicto, but rather in verbo perfecto. Notwithstanding, I would welcome some undressage in chambers."
Acting Chief Justice, I hate to break it to you, but Lady Rebecca is a happily married lady in a fine manner with an unusually virile groomsman. So I don't like your chances. But we appreciate you and the good lady brightening up the show.
We do, and this takes us beautifully into American carnage, where a very similar situation, Henry, is playing out in real life at the moment. It involves two married people, albeit one of them a widow. Speaking of a Turning Point USA event, that is the right-wing political movement founded by the late Charlie Kirk. This event happened at Ole Miss, which is the University of Mississippi, this week. The guest speaker was B.J. Vance, the Vice Prostate, and he did the Charlie Kirk part, that is, of debating political issues with students.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't do the rest of the Charlie Kirk part.
This is the question.
Too soon.
BJ made an attempt at cracking our Cunt of the Week chart, first thing to say, when he said in the presence of 10,000 people and in front of his Hindu wife Usha that frankly she wasn't really that religious when they met and he hopes she eventually cuts the shit and becomes a Catholic like him.
Well, that was just insult foreplay, wasn't it, Honk?
That's right. The insult orgy was when Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, introduced BJ, saying how much he saw of Charlie in BJ.
And then when BJ came on stage, it looked like he was actually about to get one.
Thought he had came on stage.
Erica is there in black pleather pants. She goes the full body hug. BJ Vance has got his hands on the widow's hips.
Yeah, and then Erica, puts her hands in BJ's hair like she's about to pash the shit out of him.
Yeah, we were into get a room territory, weren't we?
And speculation has exploded.
It's erupted.
Speculation has gone everywhere.
It's erupted like a sandwich on the chest.
At least. The speculation has gone everywhere that Erica and BJ are or want to be boning.
That assumes, of course, that BJ Vance is straight. Rumours have long been otherwise.
Well, he might be bi.
The other rumour is that leather couches are his thing, Honky.
What does that make him? Like not bi, not homosexual?
I think it makes him homeware sexual.
And the internet, I've got to say, has delivered some of the greatest calls ever on all of this.
Okay, go on.
What I saw was, quote, "I waited for a hot pocket to cool down longer than Erica Kirk's mourned her husband."
Oh, mine was a little more tame. It said the worst part of the BJ Erica situation is that Usha can't even punish him by making him sleep on the couch.
I liked BJ Vance grew up on food stamps. Now he has Charlie Kirk's leftovers.
Oh my God. Erica hugged BJ like I hugged my husband on payday.
The best one I saw was, "The only thing to heal faster than Erica Kirk's heart is Donald Trump's ear."
The big question, Honk, is where does all this leave Usha?
We have talked a lot about this on the show, about how unhappy Usha Vance looks.
We've been talking about it most of the year, and our theory is that she's been missing Eric the Viking,
Yes.
who she met on the Vance's charm offensive tour of Greenland, where, according to our allegations, which are completely untrue, Eric warmed her Arctic Circle.
It's bad enough BJ was saving himself for the couch, but to know how Usha feels about Eric and then for him to go out of his way to find a woman called Erica.
We got a lot of voice messages from Eric the Viking on the show earlier in the year, pining for Usha, but we haven't heard from him lately.
If you're out there somewhere, Eric the Viking, please send us a message so we can get it to Usha. It's Christmas soon. Doesn't everyone need some love at Christmas?
Holiday season's coming, but Usha Vance, unfortunately, is not. Okay, Honk, on to more highbrow matters.
What's not highbrow about? I don't understand. That's a political story. What?
The other key US story this week is the US state elections of a few days ago.
Yeah, this was a virtual clean sweep for Democrats. Exactly what it means for Republicans is not certain, though. I mean, it's not next year's midterms for the US House and some of the US Senate seats. The result, of course, may make some Republicans want to come back to the Republican Party.
Or maybe the Republican Party, Honk, might want to come back to the Republican Party and promote things like free speech, free trade, a balanced budget.
Crazy talk. Of course,
rule of law.
the key thing for the midterms was that the California governor, Gavin Newsom, got his proposition overwhelmingly passed, allowing the redrawing of the California congressional districts so they can create more Democratic House seats in California to balance out the shameless gerrymandering that's happening in Texas under the governor there and prize fucktard Greg Abbott.
Which is all ridiculous. The Newsom gerrymander is absurd. The Abbott gerrymander is absurd. They should obviously have an independent electoral commission in the US like there is here, so it's not tit for tat gerrymandering.
Hey, commie, get it together. Anyway, apart from that, Virginia got its first female governor, a woman called Abigail Spanberger, former CIA officer. Lieutenant governor of Virginia is the first Muslim woman to ever hold statewide office anywhere in the US. Mikey Sherrill beat the pants off her opponent to win the governorship of New Jersey.
Surely the relevant point is not their gender or religion, but their ability and character.
Well, you'd hope, except these are places where these things have never happened, which I think really speaks to these people's ability and character.
Although, to be fair, if the president is the standard, you just have to be not senile or in the Epstein files.
Again, you'd hope. But, of course, the biggest media attention's been on the election of the Democratic Socialist, that is the wing of the Democratic Party, ZOHRAN Mamdani. He's age 34, Ugandan-born, Indian background, New York's first Muslim mayor. He beat Andrew Cuomo, son of legendary former governor Mario Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was himself governor for 10 years till he resigned in 2021 over multiple sexual misconduct allegations.
Again, for me, Honk, the point is not that Mamdani is a democratic socialist, it's that he's clearly intelligent and not apparently a crook.
Does make a nice change for a mayor of New York.
Actually, Honk, as a long-time former city of Sydney resident, the thing that surprised me most about the New York race was finding out you could change mayors.
It's true.
Sydney's had Clover Moore forever. Feels like since Federation in 1901.
I think since the first fleet arrived in 1788. In fact, I think the traditional owners acknowledge her, don't they?
That's probably true. Mind you, she generally does a very good job.
And if you think she doesn't, or you say she doesn't, you go for a little walk by the harbour. And
there's also this concern, Honk, that Mamdani's never had a real job. But he has been a New York assemblyman. I guess we'll see.
I've got to say, he would have my vote because it turns out he's a huge wrestling fan.
I'm the same category because it turns out in high school, Mamdani co-founded the school's first ever cricket team in the middle of New York. And if he's a cricket fan, he's all right by me.
Can you imagine what it takes to organise a cricket team in the middle of New York? You can do that, he can run New York.
He can do anything. Honk, the election stat that got my attention was that every single county in Virginia, very conservative state, shifted blue, that is Democratic, including, Honk, Prince William County. They have a King William County as well.
Is that true?
It's true.
Getting a bit ahead of themselves, aren't they?
Yeah. King Charles County isn't happy. Just take your time, Prince. King comes later.
So this grabbed your attention. You obviously looked into it. Out of interest, how did Prince Andrew County go? Do you know?
I reckon they'd be struggling to lock down the younger voters.
Yeah, and traditionally they had been Prince Andrew County's big base, right?
Yeah, the voters. Prince Andrew County was most comfortable with Honk. Young voters always backed Prince Andrew County, didn't they?
And more importantly, Prince Andrew County always backed young voters. I mean, backed them hard, loved them.
Do you reckon there's a Fergie County?
Yeah. There was a huge, you're not paying, I thought you looked at this. There was a huge money scandal there. Like it turned out Fergie County was caught taking money from just anyone.
It got a few nibbles from billionaires, did it?
Yes, it did. But in fact, it's only down the bottom of the county, like the toes of the county.
I can't remember that guy's name. I think he was Texan, I reckon.
He was Texan, yeah.
Very mid-80s.
Yeah.
Honky, you reckon there's a Prince Margaret County?
There is a Prince Margaret County. You know, everything in the South, Mississippi University is Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So Prince Margaret County, it turns out Virginia is nicknamed as Hornbag County.
Right, it's not too fussy who it votes for.
It's pretty well known. Hornbag County, Princess Margaret County always took a picture from any candidate of any party, at any party.
Right. And dare I ask, is there a Princess Di County?
Republican campaign there was a car crash.
Okay, I think we better make the matter stop.
Why? I was just getting... That's a great story about the prince. Never mind.
Okay, Honk, must be time for quick shots. And I wanted to talk about Kash Patel, the FBI director's booty calls in Nashville.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
He's been using the FBI's private jet to get laid the past few Saturday nights. And then last week he got really upset that people found out.
Yeah, didn't he sack the guy who heads up the FBI's aviation division over this?
He sacked that guy this week, allegedly over leaking Kash's flight logs.
Yeah.
Turns out the flight logs are publicly available information. You can just enter the serial number of the plane.
Fucking
into
moron.
Flight radar and find out that he's going to Nashville to get laid where his girlfriend lives. So I wanted to talk about that, but we don't have time.
Well, I am happy that Kash is getting laid.
Yeah, who'd have thought? It could be the first time, Honk.
Must be the first time. I want to talk about Trump last week pardoning the crypto bro who bribed him, and then this week Trump denied knowing the guy.
Yeah, the guy from Binance.
Yeah, which must mean the pardon was signed by AutoPen, which of course is what Trump has always attacked Biden for as proof that Biden was senile. But again, sadly, we do not have time.
What do we have time for, Honk?
We do have time to confirm that Dick Cheney is dead.
The former vice president, all-round bad guy. What happened? Did the guy he shot on the duck hunt finally shoot him back?
I think I think he died of being a cunt.
Honky, cunts have warmth and depth. I'm not sure Dick Cheney had either.
Very true. Look, you're more of a medical expert than I in these matters. Cheney, of course, was the ultimate Republican insider. I think he was in every Republican administration from Nixon on in the 70s. Most notably, as you alluded to, he was the vice president of George W. Bush, that is George Bush the Younger.
And he's best remembered in that capacity, Honk, as the architect of the 2003 Iraq War.
Yeah, that's the one where the US and allies, including Australia, invaded Iraq because Osama bin Laden, who's from Saudi Arabia, blew up the World Trade Center in New York, and then bin Laden hid in Afghanistan and then in Pakistan.
Yes, and that Iraq War killed over 1 million people, factoring in Iraqi civilians as well as the US and other military. And they didn't find bin Laden for another 8 years.
Well, farewell, Dick the Dick. Gone at 84.
Honk, I reckon he was 84 his whole life.
That's true.
Born 84.
It's an achievement.
And Honk, from me, I want to talk about the most recent US-China trade deal, which happened last week, right around the time we were recording the show.
That was when Trump met Xi, and he claimed the meeting was, quote, 12 out of 10.
Exactly, yeah.
If Trump says it's a 12, that means it's a 2. What happened?
Well, Honk, as you know, we keep a close eye on this show on the world's soybean market.
Well, you do. Myself, I respect the soybean market. I myself am more of a pork bellies and frozen orange juice futures man ever since trading places.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, a year ago, the US was selling 7 million tonnes of soybeans to China a week. But since May this year, that is the first full month since the Liberation Day tariffs in April, total sales of soybeans to China from the US have been 0.
So I'm not an economic expert, but just be clear, Trump has single-handedly destroyed the entire export market for US soybeans.
China just decided to buy from Brazil instead.
So US farmers are fucked.
And they were protesting, looking for bailouts, and of course they're core Republican voters.
So Trump caved.
He flew to China, met with Xi, did a deal on soybeans and rare earth, which China has and the US needs, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago.
And what was the deal?
China agreed to restore soybean purchases from the US, but at a level less than they were buying before, and only for a couple of years, at a tariff of 13%, which still makes Brazilian soybeans cheaper.
Well, that is genius. That is 12 out of 10.
That is the art of the deal, Honk.
That's like a deal that Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel would do in The Producers.
Right, except they were trying to go broke in that movie.
That's true. Surely next time you've got to send Eddie Murphy. Get it done.
Indeed.
Now, entertainment news. Henry, there is only one entertainment story in Australia this week, surely.
There is, and I know exactly what it is.
We're talking about the Woodstock for middle-aged white guys. Anyone like us who in their 20s or maybe late teens in the 1995, mid-90s, the whole Britpop era, referring, of course, to the Oasis tour. They played in Melbourne last week, sellout crowds, and they are on in Sydney last night and tonight.
We're going, Honk.
We are. We are taking my two sons, your godsons. We're going as a little family. God knows what our wives are doing.
I'm celebrating, I'd imagine.
Celebrating our absence on a Saturday night.
That's right, with the pool cleaner and that guy from the gym.
Hey, she just likes a clean pool.
You don't have a pool. Neither do we.
Your wife doesn't go to the gym. She does Pilates. What's going on? Where are your kids, by the way? Why aren't they coming?
Oh, well, my son still has final year 12 exams and is not that into music. My daughter is more your sort of Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter concert than the Gallagher brothers. I can say, though, Honk, that regular listener Jake from Woodlands is well ahead of us. He went to the Melbourne show last Friday night.
Jake is a man of taste and distinction, and I'm willing to bet a middle-aged white guy like us.
He may well be. Anyway, I get a gleeful message on Saturday morning saying, quote, "You would have hated the kit I wore to Oasis last night, accompanied by a close-up photo of a Joy Division t-shirt."
Superb. Full credit, Jake. Brilliant.
So hopefully love did not tear him apart. Now, Hulk, obviously I'm as pumped as you about the Oasis concert, but when you said there was only one entertainment story this week, I thought you meant another titan of the music world, possibly even bigger than Oasis, all by himself, who the day we release this episode will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I speak, of course, of the great man, Warren Zevon.
I finally lost this one. Just Warren Zevon, actually revered singer-songwriter, cult singer of the 70s with, for people in People Land like me, exactly only one hit, Wonderwalls of London, with whom, though, you are obsessed.
It's true, but this Hall of Fame thing was actually brought to my attention by my sister.
Yeah, Sister Lee, who was fascinated to know how I would react to this, right?
But historically, Honk, Warren Zevon has been very underappreciated, a view shared by Jacob Woodlands,
right,
who, as you said, is a man of taste and distinction. And it's nice to see him finally being recognised.
Jacob Woodlands or Warren Zevon?
Both. And we talked a lot about Warren Zevon over a couple of episodes earlier in the year.
Yes.
Including to say that his father was a mafia fixer for the Jewish gangster in Vegas. What was his name? Not Bugsy Siegel. One of those guys.
Yeah.
His rhythm section was Fleetwood and Mac from Fleetwood Mac. and his musical mentor was Igor Stravinsky.
Incredible.
So suffice to say, Zevon was a fantastic songwriter who combined catchy tunes with weird and wonderful lyrics, of which Werewolves of London is a wonderful example, but there are plenty of others. There's Roland the One-Eyed Thompson Gunner, Lawyers, Guns and Money. Most famous albums, Excitable Boy, and classics from start to finish. So Honk, do yourself a favour.
Look, I like him, but I just can't respect a guy who stole his biggest hit, Werewolves of London, from Kid Rock's all-time classic original All Summer Long. It's the same reason that I can't respect Lynyrd Skynyrd, who stole Sweet Home Alabama from that same Kid Rock song. Try writing your own fucking mashup hit, guys. Fucking appalling.
Indeed. Honk, on to sport. Of course, the big story this week was the Melbourne Cup. It's the biggest horse race in Australia and a race that stops a nation.
I thought that was the Jews. No, sorry, the Zionists, not the Jews. The Zionists.
Yeah. Maybe according to your Twitter feed. Anyway, overseas listeners might not know, Honk, but the Melbourne Cup is also a public holiday in Melbourne.
Isn't every day a public holiday in Melbourne? Does anyone do any fucking work in Melbourne ever? They're too busy going to the tennis, the Grand Prix, the footy, the races, the cricket. No wonder Australia has a productivity problem. It's fucking Melbourne's fault.
I can confirm that Melbourne on Tuesday was a ghost town, unless you were at a pub. Most people actually take the Monday off as well. So it's a 4-day weekend.
You can believe it.
It was a great day and a great race, notably because it was won by the only Australian-born horse out of 24 in the field. And it was won by a female jockey, the superstar Jamie Mellum, formerly Jamie Carr, who a few years back was the first jockey, male or female, to ride 100 Metropolitan winners in Victoria in a season. And she's now the first woman to win the Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup double in the same year with the same horse. Yeah.
Wow.
Honk, did you have any luck on the great race?
I had no fucking awareness of the great race. You? What about you?
Well, I managed to back the winner and lose money, which is quite an achievement. I'm not sure I've made money on the Melbourne Cup since 1993 and the great Irish horse Vintage Crop when I had $10 on her at 14-1 and won $140.
That's the same Melbourne Cup year that my wife tried to kill you.
She did, Honk. She was working as a bookies clerk that day, so wasn't drinking. I, on the other hand, was at Randwick Racecourse skipping the afternoons of uni, and I was drinking heavily. Right. And she offered me a lift to the station or maybe to your place and managed to crash the car on the way home. Luckily, I forgot it immediately and have never brought it up again.
It's a shame if you didn't finish the job. I paid her good money for that. Anyway, this brings us finally to the segment you've all been waiting for. Anyone still listening, that is. Cunt of the Week. Music, please.
I'm a cunt.
Now, Honk, before you tell us the contenders, I just want to thank listener Greg Wilkinson for getting in touch a couple of weeks back via Spotify. As you might know, the AI robots at Spotify are kind enough to generate captions for our show each week. But they obviously haven't heard that theme and they didn't know what to make of it, the AI. So Greg writes about our theme, quote, I love how the written transcript for your favourite segment is interpreted/transcribed as Amit Khan.
Ahmed Khan. He sounds like a great Bollywood actor.
Yeah, who makes love like a tiger.
Like a tiger. Like a tiger.
Anyway, Honk, who is Amit Khan this week?
Okay, here we go. Look, so many possibilities here. Here is who's not cunt of the week. US Department of Agriculture, which during the current longest ever US government shutdown when SNAP, that is food stamps, are cancelled and some people do not have enough to eat, instructed American grocery stores not to offer any customer any discount on food.
What?
ICE, which outdid itself this week, chased a teacher at a Spanish language immersive preschool into the preschool and violently arrested her in front of the infant children.
Yeah, but Honk, she was eating a sandwich. She had a deadly weapon.
Eating a taco.
The US trolling Trump. Taco Trump. Trump always chickens out.
The US military, which announced its concerns this week about the impact of firearms like AR-15 on people using them in indoor gun ranges.
Right on their hearing.
Yeah.
Any concern about the impact of AR-15s on kids in schools?
Hey, Reagan, grow up. Come on. Also, David Harbour, Lily Allen's shithouse ex-husband we talked about last week, star of Stranger Things, and it emerged this week, the other big star of the show is an actress called Millie Bobby Brown, had previously, i.e. not now, but in the past year, filed a sexual harassment claim against him. Not sure when, but David Harbour is 50 and this actress is only 21 now.
Oh, classy.
But this week, there can only be one cunt of the week. Number one with a bullet. This is like if Taylor Swift released a new album called Cunt of the Week album. This is Nick Fuentes.
The far-right racist lunatic. I talked about him once or twice before.
Yeah, he was a big Trump buddy, hung out at the club with Trump. He's now broken with Trump.
Right.
Another prize ball gargler, Tucker Carlson, who's also insane, has one of the biggest YouTube podcasts in the world.
He's also broken with Trump, isn't he, Carlson?
Ish, yeah. And he is by far the biggest right-wing media star. He had Nick Fuentes on his show, Carlson, this week. It was so bad now that Carlson's own Heritage Foundation has just today, as we record this, condemned the interview and Carlson for doing it.
Right. Too crazy for Trump and MAGA. Must be crazy.
And here is some of what Nick Fuentes said. And to start with, content warning.
Why aren't people married?
It's the women. The women are extremely liberal. They're very feminist.
Like, actually?
Extremely feminist, yes.
They don't believe that, do they?
None of them want to work either. They're overweight. They have a very high estimation of themselves. I think that people call it hoflation. And so a lot of people are looking at these like frumpy, obnoxious, loudmouth, liberal women who are also very promiscuous and saying this is not actually appealing at all.
Sounds awful.
This. Yeah, it is.
And then, without anything from Carlson to curb him, Fuentes also said this. Now, we've beeped the worst bits, but again, massive content and trigger warning.
A lot of women want to be raped. And when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat out of them. But also, they have to pretend like they don't.
Oh, my God. To quote Ian Chappell on The 12th Man, as we like to do, yes, Gibbo, it does sound bad when you say it like that.
Guys, talk to your sons. Make sure you know what they're listening and watching. This shit is mainstream.
Son, don't be a cunt. Actually, that reminds me of the great Pakistani, Ahmed Khan. We were playing in 72 in Lahore.
Joy Division was... Joy Division. By the way, Nick Fuentes...
Pre-punk era.
New wave era. By the way, Nick Fuentes, Mr. I Know Women, right?
Yeah.
While claiming to be a voluntary incel, that is voluntarily celibate, is in fact, and of course, as they always are, personally very weird.
Cry for help.
Yeah. Appears to be in a, not making this up, appears to be in a romantic relationship with a far-right Swedish-born Australian online troll who calls himself Catboy Cummy, who identifies, including sexually, as a cat.
Right. And this is a bloke, except he's a cat.
He's a guy, but he's a cat.
Right.
Tucker Carlson, you are a perennial disgrace. Nick Fuentes, cunt of the week, no salute for you.
Might be cat of the week as well, Honk, by the sounds of it. A big thank you to Ahmed Khan.
Thank you so much.
Guest appearing. Honky, that must be all we have time for.
Thank God.
Find us in all the usual locations, especially TikTok and Instagram. Please share us on socials, share us with your friends, and rate us in the Apple Podcast app or in Spotify. It really helps us grow the show.
It does. Please check out our show notes, the rundown, wherever you get this podcast from of what's in the show. You can send us a text from those show notes. We'll read it on the show. You can send us a voicemail direct from those show notes. We'll play it on the show. And also, as we always say, read our show notes for incredibly dumb jokes that I just cannot. I mean, I said I'm working in the security consulting industry now, but I cannot work out how Henry is getting in and putting these stupid jokes in the rundown. It has to stop, but I'm going to work it out.
Okay, it must be time for our little audio outro, Honko. We like to finish with usually crookery, fuckwitticism, or moronification, but sometimes some positive stuff. What have we got this week?
We will be finishing the show with a little of the new Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, the late, great Warren Zevon. Not Wonderwalls of London, which we have featured on the show before. But
Stravinsky for that matter.
Or Stravinsky, but another great tune that you, Henry, mentioned, Lawyers, Guns and Money.
Yeah, classic and appropriate for these times.
Yes, indeed. First, though, we mentioned this big swing of public support to Democrats and against Trump's successes, real people power stuff. One of the great songs about that idea is the Doobie Brothers classic, Taking It to the Streets.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah. Street protest, public protest, rousing people to action. Amazing band too. In fact, I saw them only...
I thought it was just about going out on a Saturday night.
No. In fact, I saw them only a few years back, Doobie Brothers, with Michael McDonald, and they were great.
Yeah.
However, this week they played NPR's, in the US, NPR's stripped-down live music show, Tiny Desk, where there is nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
They were doing Taking It to the Streets, and it did seem to me someone had and dragged the song through a tremendous pile of dog shit.
Right, you're saying the train's been running a bit too long.
This fool could not believe it. Thank you for your company. We'll be back next week, the usual time, early Saturday morning, Australian Eastern Time. Hanging in there for Warren Zevon. But first, this is Taking It to the Streets, unfortunately, as you have never heard it before. Back next week, because as Henry always says,
stupid never sleeps.
and money. Dad, get me out of this. Ha! And money. Oh! Yeah.
Marmaduke here. Buy 200 Maybelline contracts at 66.8. Put it on my personal account.
It's a big mistake, man.
Valentine, something very important is going on here. Just watch.
All right, but y'all gonna get reamed on this one.
Tell me just why you think the price of pork bellies is going down, William.
Pork belly prices have been dropping all morning, which means everybody's sitting in their office and they're waiting for them to hit rock bottom so they can buy cheap and go long. People that own the pork belly contracts are going batshit. They're thinking, hey, we're losing all our damn money, and Christmas is around the corner, and I ain't gonna have no money to buy my son the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. And my wife ain't gonna make love to me because I ain't got no money, right? So they're sitting there and they panicking, they screaming, sell, sell! Because they don't want to lose all their money, right?
He's right, Mortimer. My God, look at it. Do you realize how much money he just saved us? Advise our clients interested in bellies to buy at 64. Mr. Valentine has set the price.